When Vincent and Marcel were recovering your memories, what did you see?
A white corridor. Long white corridor with a red door.
That's where you hide the things you don't want to remember. I mean, you've been doing it for 1,000 years.
Then what happened?
I tried to open the door. The handle was on fire. It was a searing heat. I mean, I've been in broad daylight without my ring, and I've never, ever experienced any heat like it.
So you know how it feels to have your flesh melt from your bones, to have your insides turn to lava, because that pain is the last thing Haley knew. No swift and painless death for her, just raw fire. It's true. And that is what's behind your door. The truth about what you did to the woman you love.
What is the Red Door, and why does it define Elijah's character perfectly? This major plotline about Elijah's character creates a lot of interesting fan theories about said character. Like, is it a separate form? Was Elijah the very first Ripper? But before we actually learn all of that, we first need to understand how exactly did the Red Door come into existence, who created it, and why did they create it.
It was you who killed Tatya.
Oh, I used her blood to bind the spell that suppressed Niklaus's werewolf aspect. But by the time you brought her to me, she was already dead.
You can't rewrite history.
No, I cannot. And I did not. Not until I had your consent. When you became yourself again, you brought her to me. But too late. I told you that you were a good son, to let me take care of it, that I could help make it all go away. And then I said to you, you will not suffer from this memory, or be tormented from the guilt of your misdeed. What goes behind that door shall stay there and be forgotten. I told you to clean yourself up. And if you were clean, no one would know what you are or what you've done. And you did exactly that. And more. You created a place in your mind to put your victims. You began to believe that as long as your suit was immaculate and your hands clean, you could look in the mirror and tell yourself it's all okay. No one need know what's behind that red door. But 1,000 years is a long time, Elijah. And a place meant to hold one unforgivable sin is now full to bursting with your most monstrous deeds.
And this explanation is very important to Elijah's character because it contradicts everything we know about Elijah, and Elijah does that intentionally. All of our perceptions of Elijah beforehand as the opposite of Klaus, well-dressed, well-mannered, well-tempered, clean, calm, suave, is all done by him on purpose, although semi-unknowingly. Everything he does and the way he does it creates his perception. Everything down to the way he dresses, his hatred of uncleanliness, the way he walks, the way he talks, the way he stands, the way he fights. But all of these are just a front, a facade that he uses to suppress what he truly is. Hence why Klaus told him behind all the suits and handkerchiefs, he's just as much of a monster as he is. This is all because, like Klaus, Elijah does very devious and dark actions, sometimes to people he loves, but Elijah is terrified of who he really is, and is also terrified of confronting the consequences of those actions and how it affects his mental health, so he hides it. He hides it deep within his mind to the point that he can't even remember those memories, as he's locked shop behind the red door, and he subconsciously does it instantly the very moment the deed is done, even when he isn't himself, as this was shown in season 5 when Elijah had his memories compelled from him by Marcel with the help of Vincent. And due to the compulsion, he actually starts to lose his permanent guard, guards that are used to hide what he keeps deeply hidden in his mind, like his suits. In season 5, we saw Elijah dressed in casual clothes, and this caused him to kind of relapse a bit, which caused a massacre at a nightclub. This all happened because Elijah starts to let his permanent guard down. This season also led to an event that was foreshadowed all the way back in season 2 when Esther said,
How long before it's your beloved Haley's corpse behind that door? You must be afraid that loving you will destroy her, as it destroyed Celeste.
And indeed, Elijah had the death of Haley suppressed behind the red door. Although he didn't directly kill her, but he played a massive role in her death. And even though Elijah doesn't believe he even loved Haley due to him losing his memories, his mind still automatically suppressed it behind the red door, as over time, Elijah turned what was once just a spell to lock away his secret of killing Tatia became a prison for all the memories he did not want to confront. And that prison will eventually be opened later on in season 5. And due to just how many secrets and how deep they actually were, and how badly each and every one of them affects him, especially when it comes to Haley, really broke him. A lot of people wrongfully assumed that it was just the death of Haley that broke him, but really and truly, it was everything. People keep forgetting that when Elijah locks something behind the red door, he completely forgets about them. So all of those memories that came back to him are all new. Some of which will be closer level, if not just as bad as the memory of him actually killing Haley. In fact, I even think that this was ultimately a major factor in him seeking an end to his life and an end to his suffering, as that paired with his life purpose being filled in seeking the redemption of Klaus, he is now tired and had completely lost the will to live. Now on to the biggest fan theory surrounding the red door, which is he like Stefan? Is he a Ripper? Although this isn't 100% confirmed whether or not he is a Ripper, this is just strictly my take on it. And I personally don't think so, although they share a lot of similarities. Like the split personality, the fact it's almost impossible to cure themselves in the dark other side. But the slight difference between the two is that unlike with Rippers, the red door isn't an affliction, as in it's just a mental problem that Elijah created for himself to cover up for another problem. Elijah's problem is just who he is. He's a very violent person, and sometimes this violence tends to end up with people that he loves dying, sometimes accidentally, and he doesn't want to face the mental consequences that comes from him killing someone that he loves, so he hides away behind the red door. Unlike with Rippers, he isn't compelled by blood. His problem is like his siblings, he's excessively violent. That's why Klaus echoed it to him that they're both the exact same. He's like Cole, he's like Klaus. But Elijah hates that he is, hence the constant suppression. Which is why he creates this overly dramatic facade to perpetuate the massive fraud that he actually is. He is just as bad as his siblings, hence why he always wears a suit, hence why he talks the way he talks, hence why he walks the way he walks, hence why he fights the way he fights, hence why he's the only person in the family that actually has a code. Even though he's not even close to being the least most violent out of his siblings, Elijah can feed without having to kill, which is completely impossible when it comes to Rippers. As in, Rippers physically can't. Elijah only started acting like a Ripper because his mind became beyond broken over time, due to how hard he was trying to cover up his darkest deeds. The very moment he stops, he relapses. As in, the moment that he drops the facade that he's actually the good and noble of the brothers, he automatically starts to become violent because his brain is just beyond broken. As in, he just reverts to being the violent vampire that he always was. It's to the point in which he technically developed OCD, as he needs everything to follow a code to a T, especially when it comes to how he presents himself. That's why you never see Elijah dirty, and when we actually saw Elijah get blood on his shirt, he started to excessively scrub it to the point in which it terrified Haley. So his affliction is kind of similar to Ripper's, so I understand where the fear is coming from. But with Ripper's, it's as simple as just sensing human blood can cause you to go nuts and almost rabid. But for Elijah, it's a little bit different. Elijah reversed back into what he was when he was first turned, the very moments that the thing that he actually used to keep his mental sanity in check and actually make him seem like he's less bloody than he actually is. The moment that he stopped doing that, he just reversed to his regular self, as in the person that he was when he was first turned, which is very violent. That's why Elijah seems like he's like a ripper, because at that point in time, he was compelled by blood, because he gets a lot more hungry than any other vampire who had actually trained to actually live around humans without going apeshit. And speaking of violent, Michael says, why exactly is Klaus so violent and why is he so feared? Click on the video that's on screen now to actually find out. And if you want to watch all of my takes on the Vampire Diaries universe, then a link to that playlist will be in the description. And as always, if you like the video, then like, share, and subscribe for more.